All right, here we go again. We are back. This time we are here for the SAT Math webinar. Dong Zhang and I are here to talk about standardized testing and show you some great tools that we've got in the works. Let's dive into it. You ready for this, Dong?
Yes, I'm excited.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, as I said, my name is Darren Finnegan. I am a virtual math educator. I work with adults and teens to build confidence when it comes to doing well on standardized tests, overcoming math anxiety, and getting ready to be successful in whatever math needs they have. I also work as an educational consultant. Previously did business data analytics, and I do mathematics for fun in my free time. I enjoy studying math. I enjoy teaching math because it keeps me sort of mathematically engaged and working on my own stuff. Master's of Science from Wayne State University. But enough about me. I'm very excited to welcome my good friend, Dong Zhang. Go for it, Dong.
Yeah, thank you, Darren. Yeah, so my name's Stone, and here's my journey. I got my PhD from Ohio State. Major is astrophysics, or also say astronomy. And then I moved to University of Virginia and University of Michigan for as a research scientist to do some numerical simulations on like galaxy and star formation. And then I decided to leave the field of astrophysics and became data scientist at IBM, and then moved to Seattle as a machine learning scientist at Amazon. Right now, so we found our own company called AceRocket. So this rocket is to help students prepare their math exams, especially high schoolers prepare for their math exams. Yeah, so this is my story.
Perfect. One day we're going to have to do one of these and you can show us how galaxies get formed because I think that would be a cool thing to see.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, as I said earlier, we are here tonight to talk about the SAT. Previously, we had talked about AP Calculus, and so definitely check out that video if that's something that your student needs help with. But a lot of students have to take SAT, and it's important to know that the SAT is actually a suite of assessments. It's several different tests that students take over several years, usually starting with the PSAT in grade 8 or 9. There's also a PSA 10, the PSAT, NMSQT, but the SAT is the version of the test that students take their junior year of high school, and that's the one that's used for college admissions. So doing well on the SAT can determine which school you get to go to. It can determine things like scholarships. It's one of those tests that we want our students to do well on, and we'll talk about some of the challenges that students face when we look at a test like the SAT. An important thing to know about SAT, along with a lot of the other tests that are being put out by the College Board, it's finally moving to a digital version. So no longer will it be a paper book. Now students bring their computer with them. They log into what they call the Blue Book app, which is an app that you can download from the College Board website. They take the test right there through that app. Because they've switched over to a digital format, they've actually turned it into what they call an adaptive test. The way that the adaptive test works is based on how the student scores on the first module determines what questions they'll see in the second module. So it can actually vary depending on the student skills level, which questions they see on that second test. And so doing well on that first test, getting some of those harder questions down is imperative to sort of be able to reach those higher scores. If you don't get onto the higher scoring module, then potentially you don't have that opportunity on the second round. And so each module is about 35 minutes long, and each module contains 22 questions, which means you get just about a minute and a half per question to answer those 22 questions, which is not a lot of time, especially when it comes to the math section when you're trying to figure things out. And so being prepared, knowing how to tackle these SAT problems is so important. Knowing the strategies, having take time to practice is so vital. The questions come in two formats. There's the multiple choice option, and there's also what they call the student produced responses, which just means it's a free response. They get a little box to fill in with the answer to the question. And we'll talk about sort of the multiple choice things in a second here. But the next test date for SAT is Saturday, May 3rd. Of 2025, but these tests, unlike AP Calculus, it's not just one and done. There's always another SAT, and your student can retake to get a better score. So even if they've already taken the SAT, they can go back, they can practice a little bit more, they can retake and have the opportunity to score a little bit higher. And so as we think about the general pay points in the SAT. So what are the challenges that I've seen as a tutor? I've been teaching and tutoring math in various formats for about 10 years now and worked with many students preparing to take SAT. And there are quite a few challenges that come up, especially, well, first of all, this is sort of a summary of basically all the math that you learn from 8th grade, 9th grade, Algebra 1, geometry, parts of Algebra 2. You occasionally even see a pre-calculus level type question on these tests. And it can be very overwhelming to review all of these topics at once, especially if you wait sort of last minute and now you're trying to cram, you're trying to review some of these concepts. And really, taking the time, the sooner you start reviewing, the better, because as you review an Algebra 1 concept, such as linear equations, well, that's going to help you even when it comes time to take Algebra 2 or geometry, right? There's sort of something to be said about, in math, constant practice is so vital, whether that's for passing your class or passing something like the SAT. It's definitely important to start early and to just constantly be reviewing all of the different topics, because you definitely don't want to wait till that last minute and try to cram everything in right at the end there. And something else that I see quite often in the school system is that we're not really giving students enough of an opportunity to practice. There's just not enough practice time. Most schools don't have a designated SAT teacher or SAT specialist. I've actually been hired into schools as that person that comes in as a specialist. And really, you maybe get to do 1 or 2 sessions before the test. And that, there's so much to cover, because there's test taking strategies, there's the test format, there's the actual math itself, which is probably the most important one, right? And so if you don't get that structured, consistent practice, you don't build that confidence, you don't build that fluency. So just having one or two test prep sessions through the school typically isn't enough. And some schools, typically right before the test, maybe the teacher, if they have time in their curriculum to sit down and practice a few things, yeah, maybe they could do that. But again, just those 1 or 2 sessions here or there really isn't enough to build that fluency, build that confidence. And so this sort of feeds into this point, which for me is always the most interesting one. As I've worked with students on an SAT, something like this, sometimes what I'll do, I'll work in a group session and I'll give them a particular question and say, everyone take a minute or a minute and a half, because that's typically how much time you have, right? Work on this one question, and then we'll all come together and discuss. And at the end, people get different answers. Someone says B, someone says D, and you go, well, all right, well, how did you do this problem? Can anyone talk me through what steps you took? And the usual answer I get the first time I work with a new group of students is they go, well, I read the question and then I kind of just looked at the answers and tried to figure out which one looked the best. It's like, okay, well, that's maybe not the best test taking strategy. Did you actually try to cover any of the math? Did you actually try to figure out what topic it is that they're looking for you to take? And I think it is important to mention, like, there are so many shortcuts and strategies that you can learn to be successful on this test, but just trying to find a shortcut right off the bat, just trying to skip to the end, is not a great test taking strategy. Having a strong grasp of fundamental concepts, and again, something in Algebra 1, like understanding the different forms of a linear equation, how to solve systems of linear equations. There's a few topics that if you take some time to review those things, it's a much better way to approach these problems than just trying what most of my students seem to do, which is just guessing right at the end there. And so I feel like we've mentioned this in a few different ways, but reviewing those basic topics, it just, knowing which topics to cover is a challenge, right? Because again, we've got Algebra 1, geometry, Algebra 2, right? Knowing that which ones to cover are so important, but actually taking time to review those basics and then being able to identify that in a problem is so important for being successful on a test like the SAT. And this, again, feeds into this one. It's difficult to apply what they know, because yes, knowing the basics is fantastic. But as I mentioned a few times, there are some sort of strategies and things that you sort of have to be aware of as you take these tests. And one example I always love to sort of show everyone or my students when I'm working with them, there's a fantastic question on some of the practice tests that are available online, where it talks about perimeter of a rectangle. And perimeter of a rectangle, most of my students know how to calculate the perimeter of a rectangle. So to make the question harder, the SAT will take that perimeter concept, and they'll say, now you have this function that represents the perimeter rectangle. And as soon as you say function on a test like this, it causes students to panic a little bit. It causes them to go, oh, what does this mean? And so again, knowing the basics is fantastic, but then being able to break down those concepts and be able to apply those things that they know so they can understand, all right, this question, they're just trying to make it a little bit harder by throwing in these extra words and phrases. I can ignore some of that and really focus on the concept that I do know, which is that perimeter rectangle. And again, practicing these types of problems, just practicing problems is so important. Reviewing the basics is great, reviewing concepts, but if you're not practicing problems, then again, there's that sort of next level where you have to be able to solve problems in order to be successful on a test like this. And finally, this digital test format is still new, and changes always are a time of anxiety, right, when things are changing. And so a lot of students, we're definitely living in this digital world. So students are starting to get a little bit more comfortable with this. But again, taking some time to understand how the digital format will feel and actually practicing in a digital format is so important. And I'm going to let Dong talk about this in just a minute about some of the different tools that are available, but taking time to understand what this test format feels like and what to expect going into test day. It adds a whole new learning curve to knowing what to expect on this kind of test. And one last point I will say that sort of feels relevant to this is quite often going into tests like this, students they're already feeling a lot of test anxiety. They're already feeling a lot of pressure because they want to do well. They want to get into a good school. They may be dealing with some math anxiety. And so when it comes to take the math section of the SAT, and now you've got this digital format, all of these factors coming together can really cause a lot of extra stress, a lot of extra worry on your students. So definitely taking time to talk to your student about how they're feeling about it, really listen to what they're saying, and encouraging them to, seek out and find and get help to practice some of these things is so vitally important. What do you think, Dong? Does that cover a lot of the points so far?
Yes, that's really great introduction of like the student's pain
Fantastic.
point.
Yeah.
Mm.
And shall I let you screen share for the current resources?
Uh, I can share my screen and
Perfect.
yeah.
All right. Well, I will pass it over to you, my friend.
Cool. Thank you so much, Lauren. That's a really great introduction. And I will do something to introduce the current resource and start from here. Let me make it a full screen. And can you see the screen now?
Looks
The current
perfect.
results. Yeah, so Darren already mentioned. So first, it's a high-level introduction of SAT, also include the SAT, and also general students' pain points for taking SAT math exams. And here's like most of students, not say most, many students use the resource and the apps. The first app is official. It's called the College Board Blue Book. So most students use Blue Book to prepare digital SAT exams, and they have at least 7 SAT practice exams. But so there are some limitations. The first of all is that they only provide the answer for a multiple choice question like A, B, C, D with no step-by-step solutions. So sometimes students get confused and not able to see the explanations why select also why the answer is A or B. So that's something they're missing. And also they don't have that personalized feedback. That means when you take one exam, so they will give you your correct answer and the wrong answer without any detailed and further recommendations. So there's very hard to track students and your progress. Another thing is from like the software engineer perspective. So it's very hard to use. You can say I screenshot from like Google or it's Apple and the application you can say, so most of people think it's not very good. And they take a lot of like computer memory and it's very hard to use. So they definitely need to improve the software engineer part. And also, yes, also need to have some tracker to help student to know their progress. And so this is also official. It's called Street Question Bank. It's also from College Board. And so the question bank includes thousands of questions, which is good, and also have solutions and step-by-step explanations. But so there are so many questions, around 3,000 questions. It's overwhelming and very hard for students to choose which question to practice. So they need to pick up a question one by one, and they will be confused about how many questions they need to take. And most of the questions are pretty old from the paper SAT, not digital SAT exams. And so there's no personalized path for student to learn. So if students have a limited time and they are not able to practice all 3,000 questions, so which questions they should practice and which question they can skip, there's something unclear. And so that's we should keep in mind. We really need to have a progress tracker or performance tracker to help students save time and better practice and prepare exams. Next is called Khan Academy. It's something like a semi-official because Khan Academy is a partnership with a college board to offer some materials and like videos, and they also put video on YouTube. And again, so the thing is that there are so many videos. Each video will take like 15 minutes to 30 minutes, and there are a lot of materials. If students only have limited time to practice, so for example, 1 month to prepare is a lot of materials. And some questions are just warm-up questions and let people like to be familiar with some concepts in algebra. It's not super relevant and similar to the real SAT exams. So that is the problem. Again, also Khan Academy doesn't have a personalized learning path. So the materials is the same for all students. Another is very traditional called preparation books. So for example, the Princeton Review is many students use Princeton Review. Another is called a Barron's SAT Math preparation book. So they are traditional books. And although they are popular, but the issue is that there are hundreds of pages and parents bought books for their kids, and their kids sometimes afraid of review all hundreds of pages. So and they just practice like from page 1 to page 10 and just drop the book. So it's lacking students engagement. And also we call it static and linear learning experience. So students need to review from page 1 to last page and from chapter 1 to last chapter, even they know pretty good. So they are pretty good at algebra and they only need to practice, for example, geometry and trigonometry. They still need to practice from page 1 to the last page, and they will spend a lot of time and energy on algebra. And once they go to geometry, probably don't have enough time to practice. So this is the limitation of the traditional preparation books. And another thing, like just like Darren mentioned, so there's no like specifically SAT teachers in schools. And so if students or parents want to find a tutor, they need to go to private tutoring section or test preparations centers. And most of them are very expensive. So I know like for C2 education or Russia School of Math, they need thousands of dollars for tutoring, and each session probably $200 for just a single session. And also because the tutor, there are so many tutors. Some tutors are from high school, some tutors are college students. So they have a different level. It's really depend on the tutor expertise in SAT math. And also its schedule is sometimes will be difficult. For example, it's really hot season for AP calculus and AP exams. And it's very hard to find a test preparation center available now for SAT and for AP and SAT is similar. So sometimes they have a limited resource and with limited tutors and very hard to find time and section just to schedule a tutor. Yeah, so this is the basic current resource and all resource. I'm not saying that bad, but they all have some limitations. And our platform AceRocket, we try to solve these issues and remove the limitations. So here I go to the next topic, how we believe you can prepare SAT math more efficiently and like spend less time and do better preparation and get better scores. So this is we highly recommend is called, we you give it a term called AAA learning. It means it's AI part, active and adaptive learning. I can explain more details. So what's the active learning mean? So active learning means as you need to have some purpose to learn. For example, so there's some research I screenshot from the wiki, a term called active learning. And a traditional way to learn, or normal way to learn, is that you review books, you find the materials on internet, and then you discuss with your colleagues, classmates, and experts, some like tutors. And another way to learn is that if you're learning a class from scratch, probably you can first think about some project. It's called project-based learn. If you want to prepare exams, you first want to take some problems, and then you can understand your level, your performance, and make a plan for yourself. So this is called active learning. And the research found is that the traditional learning in we use books and internet and talk to people is less efficient than problem or project-based learning. So that's the meaning of active learning. You need to learn by practicing problems, especially for test preparation. So that's why we highly recommend students first take a diagnostic test. Some students are afraid of taking exams, so they say, I'm struggling with math, I don't want to take another exam. So the diagnostic test is not block you to say you are bad at math. It's really help students, help you to find your level of understanding and help you to make a plan for you. So that's highly recommend student to get engaged first to take diagnostic test. It will not be like overwhelming. You need to take like 1 hour, 2 hours sit and practice a lot of questions. You can take just 15 minutes or maybe 20 minutes to practice something, and then we can help you to make a plan. So this is we already said, so we really highly recommend to take a diagnostic test. And our platform can give you real-time feedback and then make plan for you. So we just go to the second part of this loop. The AAA loop is called personalized study plan. So if you can take the first step, go to the diagnostic test, we will definitely make a plan for you. This plan is good for you. So many teachers, they said they have like 30, 40 students in one class. They need to have a curriculum for all students. It's the same curriculum and the same plan. But if you take diagnostic test, we can make a plan just for you. So this is a definition, the core concept of adaptive learning. Adaptive learning is something we use technology. Right now, it's usually we call AI-powered technology to help students make a personalized plan. For example, if you buy something on the Amazon platform and Amazon can recommend something for you. Hey, probably you buy this item and there are 3 items. Probably you can buy together or not buy together. We highly recommend you buy. And say, yes, I forgot to buy these things. And so this is something we call the personalized recommendation. For test preparation is something similar. We want to help you to make a plan just for you. So the technology is already there. So we can leverage AI to help you to make a personalized study plan. And then, so we go to the third part. The third part is called, step 3 is called bite-sized learning. So we know many students are very busy. They take a lot of exams and a lot of out school like activities. They only have like 1 month or 2 months for SAT preparation. So we don't want students to take like 2 hours, 3 hours every day to just practice exams. So we want to help them to prepare more efficiently, probably 10 to 20 minutes each day to emphasize on where they need to highly improve. For example, if students are really good at algebra and still need to do something to practice trigonometry, so we can make plan for you to first focus on geometry or trigonometry, and then go back to practice algebra again. Or some students say, I'm really good at geometry, but I need to improve my, like say, statistic or like problem solving. So we really can help you to make a plan. And then you can just spend 10 to 20 minutes every day and then improve your score very quickly. So this is the conception of bite-sized learning. And also we have very good progress tracker. We already mentioned that the official Blue Book and the Sweet question bank, even Khan Academy, they don't have the progress tracker. So we have the progress tracker or tracking progress. So that's, we can dynamically change the personalized plan for you. And so the plan will help you to focus on your weakness and then to improve your SAT math score in limited time. So yeah, so this is very high-level introduction of our philosophy, how students can practice and not only for SAT math, probably for all math or other exams, to first go through the loop to take some diagnostic tests, and then we will make plan for you, and you do some everyday practice learning, and then we make the plan dynamic change, then probably you can take another diagnostic test and then change the plan. So that's the best way to practice and prepare exams. So here,
And I love what you say, Dong, if I can just say about the active learning and how, it's something I always tell my students, it's okay to go in and make mistakes, right? It's okay to make mistakes. But then when you provide those step-by-step solutions and you give them the option to try more practice, that's where real learning happens, right? And you don't get that with some of these more static experiences where you go in, you try the problem, and at best it just tells you if you got it right or wrong, or maybe which answer was correct. But if it doesn't show you where you went wrong or how you could be better, then you're not getting that full experience.
Exactly. So yeah, our platform is to help students to find their weakness. Some students, they even don't know their weakness.
Of
They just say,
course.
I'm struggling with math. I'm struggling with SAT math, but they really don't know. So where they are struggling, so they go to their teacher notes or their homework from the first homework problem set 1 to the last problem set. It's really time consuming. So we can help students. So don't afraid to make mistakes, and we can help you grow and prepare based on your mistakes. Mistakes is good, but good, really good. So if you don't have mistake, zero mistake, so it's very hard to improve. But if you make mistakes, that's really good. We can help you to grow and improve.
I love that. Well done.
Yeah. And then, so there's, Darren already mentioned some general students' pay points, like they are overwhelming too many topics and not enough practice, and hard to remember a lot of math concept, and how hard to apply concepts to the problems. So probably if you know a lot of concepts of how to apply to questions and problems, and it's hard to do that. And also it's digital. Some students are struggling with the digital tests. They prefer like traditional paper test. So here, our platform, AceRocket, first we use adaptive learning to help you to make a personalized plan. And then we have thousands of questions. So basically we have unlimited practice with instant feedback and step-by-step solutions. So that's, we help you to see how can you apply concepts to real problems. And also we have pretty good progress tracker to help you grow. And our platform is digital. All questions are digital, then help you to be familiar with the digital environment. And so you don't need to worry about digital and the difference between paper and the digital. So yeah, I think I would like to stop here for the slides and go to a demo. So the demo shows our AceRocket platform. Yeah. So this is our website, acerocket.net. Feel free to check out our website. So we have like the homepage. So we remind you, so is this for AP and SAT exams? So the next exam will only have 22 days to prepare exams. And we have SAT and AP and tutoring, so some free tutoring for young students, like from grade 6 to grade 9, and also about us, so some our basic information. So probably for this webinar, we will focus on SAT math, but feel free to check out all like other platform like AP and tutoring and about us. And so the SAT math question bank. So here we highly recommend this loop. It's called the active learning loop for short, or the AAA learning loop. And if you don't want to go through this loop, we still offer like traditional practice exams. For example, if I click this one for 4-module practice, let me use my personal Gmail account to log in. It's very straightforward to log in. So you can use your Gmail account or create your own account. And so here is like, for example, we go to the full module exams. So there are two versions. One is very traditional, like a PDF. And the PDF, we have module one. Each module include 22 questions. Dara already mentioned the format. It's 22 questions each module. And for example, I go to module 3, and there are 22 questions, and you can practice. And we also have provided the solutions. They are first give you the answer, and then each question give you step by step how can apply concepts to solve these problems. Yeah, also besides like PDF version, we have online digital version. For example, go to exam 2, module 3, and yeah, you can practice one by one, and then see your if you don't want to practice, quit this section, and you can see your results. Just I guess one correct answer and
Good
wrong.
one, right?
Yeah, so this is like the practice exam, but we highly recommend students to take this loop, the AAA or active learning loop. So start your journey here. And for example, I still use my Google account to log in, and feel free to register and use your Google account to log in. Yeah, so we already signed in. And here we have first I have two parts. The first is diagnostic test. The diagnostic test, you can take 15 general questions, or 30 general questions. It will spend you like about 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. We recommend you to take like 1.5 minutes to practice each question. So about 20 minutes. You don't need to take a very long time. And for example, directly go to what's the 50% of what's that? And just randomly select. So this is just show function, not real practice. And I have 3, so there are 15 questions. If I practice one by one, and if you don't want to practice, that's fine. You can quit this section. So you do not necessary to practice all 15 questions. You can say, I practiced 7 questions, 3 are correct. And so advanced method, 1 of 3 are correct. And the problem solving, and here show you wrong answer and the correct answers. And then we have a platform to show your performance and see if you did good. So because I guessed a lot, so performance is not good, but so I did really good for algebra. And probably I need to improve my problem solving and the data and analysis. And here show all the history, all you did the practice. So for example, the problem solving, I practice like percentages, 4 questions, but 0, none of them are correct. Probably you need to practice percentage. And here also, like here is something about statistics, the margin of error, and the students actually I only practice 1 question is not correct. Probably you still need to do more practice on problem solving and on statistics. And then so you can go back to home and go to the second part. It's called a topic-based practice. So it's also like the bite-sized learning practice. For example, I mentioned the student need to do more on problem solving and the data analytics. And you can select the topics. The topic is first, you can select 5 general questions. And if you click let's go, so it will give you 5 questions and the topic of problem solving and the data analysis. But so here, if I want to do like more on percentage, I'll see here the inference, probably I can select this one and let's go. So they will give you some problems to practice. And so this problem practice, because we highly recommend students to do bite-sized learning, so this will not give you like 5 or 10 questions at the same time, same cohort. It will show question one by one. For example, X practice this question. Your question is wrong. You can try the problem again, or you can go to our solution, step-by-step solution. It shows A is correct answer, and you can review why you got a wrong answer. If you go back to our problem, probably I can select question 1 is correct, and then go to the next problem. The next problem is also like the statistics problem under the same subtopic. and also I can practice. Oh, I guess correct. It's A. I can go to next problem, or I can also quit this section. And now this section shows you correct, you give two correct answer, and then you can go to your performance dashboard again and see your performance. Yeah, so this is pretty much of, also here is the performance summary is, I think, will give you really good insight. What's your best area, the top strengths, what's the area for improvement. And we will have a AI part personalized plan very shortly, like to help you automatically practice right now. So it's a kind of menu. You need to click to the problem and click here and select some subtopic. But eventually we'll make everything automatically, and then you can practice. So this is something we would like to announce like very shortly.
How exciting.
Yeah, so that's pretty much of the demo. And so this is our SAT question bank, and also free to check out our other resources like AP question bank and tutoring section, book for free tutoring, and also we have other information. And yeah, so I would like to stop the demo now and then go back to our slides. Actually, our
Thank
slide.
you for showing us all of that, Dong. I'm so excited to hear that there's even more features coming out, and
Yeah, definitely
I
will have
love
more
to
features.
always see the assessments and how everything works. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Darren. Yeah, so this is the last slide. So feel free to check out. So the QR code. So this directly go to our SAT math resource, and also this is go to our website, AceRocket website. If you have any questions or concerns or suggestions or feedback, just welcome to send us email. Yeah, so
Perfect.
that's, I think I would like to stop here and then for question and answer. Mm.
Well,
So,
thank you again, Dong, for showing us everything you got going on AceRocket. I'm super excited to continue using the tool. I think as an instructor, for me, I just love that my students can go in, they can work on their own, they can get that personalized feedback, and
mhm.
it also allows me to sort of determine where they're at and how to continue supporting. So again, thank you so much for doing that demo.
Thank you, Darren. Yeah, also thank you for the great introduction and of SAT Math, and then give very great suggestion on our demo.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, and we've got the email there up on the screen, acerocket at AI at or at, .ai@gmail.com. You can also
Mhm,
reach out to me, Darren Finnegan at TutorMyMath.com. If you have any questions about SAT, how to get started, anything like that, we are here to help, aren't we?
mhm.
Perfect. All right, my friend. Let's should we wrap it up there?
Yeah, we can wrap up and stop recording.
Fantastic. Thank you.